Same.
Okay. I am here.
Hello.
Hello. How are you guys?
We're
Riled up over here.
No, I know.
we're
Well,
good.
okay. I know it's a pretty polarizing case. So let me, for everybody in chat, give them some background. And I am mostly going to be an audience surrogate here. You guys are going to know a lot more about this story than I do. This is something that I heard for the first time maybe like 2 or 3 days ago. And like suddenly after I heard about it that one time, then next thing I know, everybody's heard about it and everybody's opinions on the case. So I haven't had a chance to like go through it all. I haven't had a chance to look at the story. I just have like the basic idea of what's going on. So it sounds like, I don't know, wait, between either Feetpics or Christine or Jeni, I know WitchBlades, you're kind of in the same boat as me a little bit, but which one of you guys would you like? Have you been following? Like, who's been following the story for a long time here?
I'm
I
literally
caught
in a
up
whole
today.
group. For reference, my friends are a bunch of psych people. So this is literally something we're talking about. We're like, there's just no way she's not going to get insanity plea at all. It's one of the hardest things to do, just with the way they're painting her. But she's showing red flags that she should have been.
Well, before we get there, because they don't even know about that part of it just yet. But you've been following this for a minute. Then is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been following it for quite some time because it happened here in Massachusetts.
I was going to say, because it's local to you, right? Like it's like, so this reminds me of, and you know, anybody that's in chat that knows from the area that we went to high school in here in Montgomery County, we had something similar where there was a girl that I went to high school with where her older sister, it was something, yes, Colby, the Hoggle case. It was something where it may have been postpartum depression, but it also might have been a mental health episode, because in her case, she had a large history of mental health issues. From what I understand, this person doesn't necessarily have the history. It might be more of a recent thing. Anyway, we'll get into that part later on. In our case, our local case, those kids are still missing to this day.
Wow.
She definitely did it. There's no question that she did it. The problem is that she has been ruled not competent to stand trial for over a decade now. Like she's still, yes, Bandar, you know from this area too. Oh wait, Bandar, you know Chelsea? No way. Anyway, well that's going way back to the day. Regardless, that being said, it was a whole thing. So I have not kept up with it, Colby. I don't really know, but it's kind of hard to fake. Like, it's really hard. And maybe Feetpics, since you're kind of in on the whole psych part of this, faking not competency to stand trial is insanely hard to fake.
It's easy to catch when they're faking it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is really, really hard to fake not competent to stand trial. And the reason that I bring that up is that there are people that have like actual severe mental disorders that still get found competent to stand trial. Like,
yep.
There are people that are like so severely on the autism spectrum that they can't function in public, and they still get found competent to stand trial. So I think that the Hoggle girl did it. I know she did it for a fact. I just wouldn't be surprised if she actually wasn't competent to stand trial in that specific case. So anyway,
it's kind of similar to what's happening. It's not like, it's kind of similar in the sense of like, they're not denying that she did it. The argument for her defense is more so that she was in a state of psychosis and not of sound mind, postpartum depression, anxiety, stuff like that. Whereas the prosecution is trying to argue that she was herself, she was of sound mind, she had no issues. She was aware of what she was doing. That's kind of what I've gotten from all the recaps and videos I've watched today. Of they're trying to argue, no, she was clearly like trying to seek help and was in a psychosis situation, whereas prosecution says no, she wasn't. She's fine.
Okay.
Basically.
Well, we're gonna get to that part eventually, I guess. So can I ask maybe, Christine, can you give us the local perspective of how this story came to be, how you first heard about it, what you know. Now, can you just give us the unbiased facts of what you know from somebody in the area? And while you do that, I'm going to shake my air fryer real quick, but I'm going to give you the floor. Go ahead.
Thanks. So I will do this. I was watching some recaps, but I have been following the case. There's a YouTube channel called I'm Not a Lawyer But, so I'm gonna put that hat on. I'm not a lawyer but. So Lindsay Clancy was a nurse, and she was on maternity leave and then extended her maternity leave. And her son, she had 3 children. Cora, who was 5, Dawson, who was 3 or 2, and Callan, who was 8 months old. And
Such
so,
suburban white person names, but go ahead.
Yes. Yes. So they lived on the South Shore of Massachusetts, which is close to the Cape. They lived in Duxbury. It's a pretty, I'd say it's like a upper middle class town, but they both had good jobs, whatever. She, in January 2023, she sent her husband to the store to pick up medicine for her daughter, and then to pick up takeout food. And while he was gone, she strangled the 3 children, murdered them in the basement, went upstairs, locked herself in her bedroom, slit her wrists and her throat, jumped out the window. And when the husband came home, he found her, and then she was still alive when she jumped out the window.
So he found her outside.
Then,
like he pulled up like, I just came back with the bread in the mill, or
so he pulled up, he went inside, the house was quiet. Their bedroom window was at the back of the house.
Okay.
When he went inside, he was like, it's quiet in here for 3 children. So he ran up to their bedroom, found the door was locked, broke in, and then saw blood everywhere and looked out the window, found her outside. She was still alive. He said, where are the kids? She said, in the basement. He didn't know they were dead. He went down in the basement and found all 3 of them. They were strangled with exercise bands.
Right, allegedly.
And the long story short, she is saying she did it. She's pleading guilty on that, but she was going through postpartum psychosis. And the whole trial is about all of that and trying to determine, was she of sane mind when she did this or not?
So real quick, I have a question about that, because I have been seeing, and this is why I purposely didn't dive into them, because I wanted to hear it from you guys. I have been seeing people try to say that maybe she didn't do it, maybe the husband did it, but it seems like that is a far-fetched conspiracy theory that doesn't have a lot of weight behind it. What do you guys feel about that one? What do you guys think about that?
I have some friends that think it's him and not her. I do have some friends that think that's the theory.
Part of that conspiracy is, like Jeni and I were talking about this. Part of that conspiracy is because there's a lot of evidence going into play right now about searches on her phone and on a laptop, but nobody can confirm who actually made those searches, especially on the laptop. And so people are, there's a lot of conspiracies around what was Googled, why they Googled it, what time they Googled it, and stuff like that. So people are talking about how they think that possibly the husband did it and was going to try and like cover up killing her, not the children. I don't know.
And I do want to add, reading Bardley's chat, she did say she was hearing a voice telling her to kill. That's what I've seen, that that she was hearing voices to tell her to kill the children.
Wait. When did she first say that she was hearing voices? That's my question.
Speculation on that. There's speculation on that. So this all happened January 24th, 2023. Around
3 years ago. That's crazy. It's been going on this long.
Yeah, August of like 2022, she had been talking about being depressed and being suicidal and all of that stuff. So her being suicidal was known for quite a long time. She did tell her husband at some point that she wanted to hurt the children, but I don't know. Jeni, do you know when voices were talked about?
I don't remember when voices were mentioned. I don't know if Feetpics or WitchBlades know. Do you guys remember? Because I know she said she heard voices
yeah,
telling
because
her
see,
to do
to
it.
I
me,
don't remember.
No, I
that
don't remember.
that's kind of important, because if the whole I'm hearing voices thing was not introduced until the crime,
She was really, really, really postpartum psychosis.
Yeah, deeply
And
in
the
there.
doctors did not take it seriously.
mm-hmm.
She was begging for help.
Yeah.
And it felt like to her no one was helping.
Did she have any other psychosis before this? I mean,
Well,
like
from her previous pregnancies.
not necessarily from the previous pregnancy, but I mean, generally, and this is, I'm here to be educated. From what I've understood, is a lot of the postpartum depression, it happens, well, shortly after the birth. When was the most recent kid born?
He was 8 months old when he died.
Yeah.
And I do remember
Okay, so
them reading
that's
the
right
message
in
the
that's
courtroom.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's within a year. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
And I
yeah.
remember them reading a message in the courtroom. I don't remember the entire message, but they a message that she sent saying like she doesn't feel like she can connect to the baby as much as the other two. Um she also, like Christine said, she mentioned to her husband that she was like wanting to hurt them at one point before. So like there was ample warnings here that she was in a deep state of psychosis.
So before you got on, we were talking about postpartum. 3 of us here have not been pregnant. One of us has. I'm not going to make you talk about it, but not if you don't want to, but it's very, very different. And
I
it's
know
not
it can
taken
be.
seriously.
I know it can be person dependent, and in fact, the only reason that I know what postpartum depression is because of Scrubs. I don't know if you guys all watched Scrubs growing up, but remember Carla goes through postpartum depression in that show, which is like way ahead of its time when you think about it. That was like the mid 2000s that they had the whole storyline about Carla going through postpartum depression, and I had never known. I was like, what do you mean somebody gets depressed after they have a kid? And then I saw that episode, I was like, oh shit. Oh, like, teenage male. I never would have guessed, personally. But
I mean, look at Hayden Panettiere. Neutrogena dropped her the moment she mentioned she had postpartum depression after her 10-year contract with them.
I love that
Just,
everybody's
like,
going
dropped
after
her.
them too. Everybody's going after
Yeah, they
Neutrogena
are
for that too.
getting boycotted. Sidebar, boycotted. Their stocks have dropped, plummeted tremendously. Everyone, like, the search boycott Neutrogena has increased in Google by 5,000%.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
So they are cooked, brother.
Good.
As they should be.
Well, okay. But back to the case, though. I guess, where are we in the case right now? Is she currently on trial? Yes. So the trial is happening. Yeah. We have not reached the jury phase yet, right?
No, the jury is there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Is there a verdict?
It's being live streamed every day.
Every day there's a correct.
How? Does anybody know how long the jury's been in deliberation for?
No, they're not done with things yet.
They're not done.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So trial's still going on. They're doing witnesses and everything right now.
Yes.
Yep.
Like today, I was watching it live when it was happening. There was a girl that went viral on TikTok because she worked at the McLean Hospital, and she was kind of arguing what they were talking about it for McLean. And they brought her TikTok went insanely viral talking about Lindsay Clancy's case, and they brought her in as a witness to kind of give some like backstory on how the staffing works at McLean, because Lindsay was there during like a New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, like a couple days.
Right before.
Yeah. and there was a holiday going on, and she was kind of there to give the prosecution and the defense a little backstory on how their staffing works and how they work as a hospital.
Okay.
So that was going on today.
So there's still a lot they have to go through then. They're establishing a lot still.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to add, so she was in the hospital. She was in McLean Hospital. McLean Hospital is a specific psychiatric hospital outside of Boston. And she was in there for 5 days. She went inpatient. And then people keep talking about how she voluntarily released herself. But just to give some background on that, because I've also been inpatient for a psych ward. Everyone who's in a psych ward is voluntarily there, unless you get a 5 whatever that law is where someone puts you in. But everyone is in there. So you are legally allowed to leave once your doctors say you're allowed to leave. So I was in there for 5 days, and I said everything I needed to say to get the doctor to clear me to go. So McLean is a good hospital. It's specifically a psychiatric hospital. So, I appreciate that the TikToker, she came on and was talking about it, because it is good to know the ins and outs of that specific hospital.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, real
At
quick,
some point-
Liza, thank you for the follow.
At some point they were mentioning how they talked about the staffing issues, on, I think her husband was one, or her defense was saying that there was a day that nobody checked on her or something like that. There was no doctors or whatever because it was a holiday. It was New Year's Day. But TikToker
this is
came to
post birth.
clarify.
You're talking post birth. Is nobody's there to check on her? Anything? Is that what we're talking about when
think
she's checked
so,
into the
because
facility here?
I think this
No.
is, or is this
The
after
facility. No, that
the
was at
facility.
McLean.
So
Okay,
this is post birth after she's checked into McLean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
which was
Got it.
which was beginning of January, and she killed the children January 24th.
Correct.
Okay.
So she came up to clarify that there's staff there, she was explaining there's always this number of staff for this many beds and in these units, people are checked on once a day, and then if they get a pass to leave for 8 hours, they check on you before you leave, they check on you when you get back. That's kind of what she was explaining because she worked there for so long.
Sure. This is a TikToker that came out and said all this.
She's not a famous TikToker, but she became viral.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. I just meant a person came out on TikTok. I'm always I'm always I'm always skeptical with that. In the same way where I'm a YouTuber comes out or somebody says something, because you never know. Especially if they're not being called upon in the case. I'm always taking it with a grain of salt, because anybody can say anybody about anything. However, I'm assuming that part of the reason why this may be going viral is because there probably is some credence and credentials to that.
So, not to cut you off, but she was a social worker at McLean for 7 years. She worked there. She stopped working there, I should say, in 2019 or something.
It's a few years before this happened, but still.
Yeah. So she just hopped on to TikTok to talk about it, right?
Just to basically give her experience then, not necessarily weigh in.
Yeah, so basically the same thing she was saying in court.
Yeah. Oh, so she was called in court. This TikTok.
Yeah. This was in court.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
that. Okay. So that clears up a lot for me, because here I was listening to all this being it is somebody on TikTok just talking, but this person was brought into court to testify.
Yeah. No.
So that's
brought her in
massively
okay.
That's massively different than just somebody got on TikTok to talk about what they thought that they had heard and what they had seen.
Yeah. Feetpics, you were gonna say something earlier. I don't know. I think you got cut off.
Yeah. So I have experience with psych wards in hospitals, since I did an internship with a bunch of hospitals, specifically for research of HIV, but we got to deal with people who had unfortunate mental disorders. The issue I have always had with when it came to psychiatric hospitals is they're not going to be efficient. They're going to claim X, Y, and Z person. There's this many people to this many beds. Yeah, sure. From my experience, even when I had to admit my sister-in-law, they checked on her once, and I kid you not, it was for 5 minutes. We found out she has bipolar disorder. They couldn't figure this out for like months. She was there for 6 months. So the fact they allowed her to leave when
Yep.
she already gave all of her doctors all of this, they should have looked into it and they didn't,
Yep.
which just tells me everything I need to know about that kind of hospital. Buffalo
I
has that
don't,
same kind of hospital.
I will say,
someone-
and hang on, wait, and I
Go
want
ahead.
to anecdotal, because I think it does depend on the place. Because Shepherd Pratt in Baltimore, next to where I went to college, is actually a really good one that really, really does take care of people, and really like that one. I've heard nothing but good things about. A lot of people from school volunteer there, so I'm not saying
sure.
I'm not saying this one was, but it seems there is a spectrum, and and I don't know about this. I mean, so Christine, I know you're about to talk. And you have some experience with this one, is what you're saying. Would you say that they are like, are they good or do they fucking suck? Like, what would you say as a local?
So I was not in this hospital for inpatient. I was in one of the Boston hospitals. But
Okay.
So I don't have like direct experience. I did go to support groups at McLean, like for depression.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that the hospital itself takes things very seriously. I can't comment on how the inpatient part of it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's usually hit or miss with inpatient.
Yeah.
Especially like
For
we don't know
sure.
the situation. A lot of these people could be overworked and understaffed. While they say they have enough staffing, especially since this is a hospital, they get assistance from the state.
Mm-hmm.
The state only gives them so much money. So
Right.
it's one of those scenarios where unfortunately you're going to have these people say, yeah, no, we're doing our job, but they're only doing it maybe 40% efficient because of what they're given. And that's how I'm looking at it, because I have never come across an experience when it comes to a hospital like that where it's going to be good. It's a very rare chance, and I'm not surprised this was the outcome given all of her cries for help, and they were always ignored.
Mm.
I'm not surprised that the outcome was this because of all of her cries for help. But on top of that, because it was labeled postpartum, and they didn't even diagnose her with postpartum psychosis until after all this. But because it was labeled postpartum, people really didn't take it seriously.
So I have a quick question that I would like all of you guys to react to specifically, because I can't answer this. And I would like to hear this, because when I read this comment, also just as a man, I read this comment, it makes me think like, I don't know, but like I guess I can't wrap my head around it. I read a comment that said, it seems like a lot of people are standing up for her for the postpartum depression angle, and yet she apparently did not experience any psychosis before or since. It seems like there was a isolated incident that happened one time and then never happened again. Is that a misinformed comment from that guy?
It depends on what triggers the situation. My sister-in-law who's bipolar had one psychosis incident, and it was psychosis even though she's bipolar, and has not had one since, and it has been 5 years. It's under extreme stress that sometimes this can't come out.
And there's also comments from I think there's that her defense was talking about how, what if she's bipolar, because they're talking about her being bipolar as well. You can't give bipolar patients like Zoloft. You can't give them that.
Is she
horrible side effects.
Is she diagnosed bipolar?
I don't know. Did they diagnose her? I don't remember if they did, but he was discussing that.
Okay. Yeah, that's like I guess this all what the whole trial comes down to is, it's kind of like Bardley was saying, is that the brain is pretty fucking crazy.
It is.
OD, we'll get into that in a second. You're needed for something else. But
Sorry, Johnny.
so yeah, my bad, Donnie. Caught us at a bad time. No, yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. Well, before I'll tell you what. Before we get back into this, we can take a quick breather and then get back into the nitty gritty of it all. So D, I don't know if you saw, but if you look up there, I hit a sub goal that I really didn't think we were gonna hit. I said, yeah, sure, 500 subs.
I asked you if you were sure about that.
Yeah, well, I said at 500
Funny.
subs, I'd put a maid dress on.
Mhm.
Well, now they want to know how many more subs it'll take to get D in a maid dress on the same stream.
I feel like I'd have to sit this one out, to be fair, but
I know, obviously. That's what I'm saying, Vandar. Yeah. I mean, D, we're already at 508. Well, because obviously, who else would they, who wouldn't want it? I mean, come on now. Well, you're reminding me. Well, everybody wants Donnie on the mic, right? I mean, come on.
Mhm.
I mean, I think. Look, okay. What if we hit 600 in total? It's possible.
No Bandar for the month.
No, I'm not wearing a maid dress for them. Yo, could you imagine? No, actually not. I'll do it. All right, we have a number. We have a number. Guys, we have a number. He says $600. He'll do it. $600. 600 subs. He'll do it too. As long as we take shots of Malort, fine. I'll even throw that in there.
Oh,
I'll do it.
You hate
I don't
yourself,
care.
huh?
I do. Obviously. Fine.
Donnie.
Yeah.
Donnie.
Wait, he says he'll do it for the 500. What? It's a done
Wait,
deal. Oh, we don't even need to do it anymore.
Done deal.
All right. Never mind. We don't need
Lock
it
it
anymore.
in. Lock it in.
It's locked in. It's locked in. He said I've watched Gold Dust as a wrestler. You said, I'll do it. Literally, wait, I'm pinning it in chat. Bam, right there.
Boom.
Pinned. Can't even delete it. Says, I'll do it. D, get on Amazon, bro. We're doing it around my birthday. Around September 14th-ish. So mark your calendar.
You're the day after my nephew? Crazy.
Yeah. I know. We'll figure it out, D. It'll be in September. He's thinking that. He's like, oh my God. It may not be here. Well, it's going to be in September sometime in the middle of it. We'll figure it out. All right. Well, there you guys go.
We'll move it, D. We'll move it.
Yeah. Well, she's like, honey, we'll make it happen. Don't you worry. Baby, sugar, doll, please, plum. We got this.
We'll do whatever it takes.
My
Don't you worry
September
about
is
it.
full.
Don't you
Yeah,
worry.
bro. No, we got it, D. It's happening. Now, you've already agreed. 2 weddings in Disney World. Well, look, if it has to move to October, they will wait for the mainstream.
No, listen. We'll
depends
go
on
to
October.
Disney World. We'll
Well,
go to Disney World.
no.
Have them do
No,
it there.
no.
Yes, let's do that.
No. I am not going around
Princess
and
Disney.
drink around the world in Epcot.
In your maid
In the
dresses,
maid
yes.
dresses. I don't even honestly because it's a
I will
family
go.
park. I honestly don't think they let us in. As funny as that would be, I actually think at Epcot they would probably
They do have a dress code.
yeah,
You're right.
They
they,
do have a
they,
dress
would-
code.
they would probably say like, look, guys, I'm sure this is really funny, but you can't do that here. We're not doing that.
I mean, D just said book it, so.
Yeah. October in a dress bucket. Club 33, I don't think they'll let us in. No, I don't think that they're going to let that happen over there. All right. Okay. So his September is full because you're getting 2 for 1. I think that people are going to be fine waiting for a 2 for 1 maid stream. So
Oh, yeah.
October, it'll be spoopy themed. Well, you know what? It's going to be me and D in maid dresses. How fucking scary your kid get.
That's true.
Perfect.
Oh my God. All right. Early to mid-October. We'll make it happen.
I think you should both go trick-or-treating together like
I don't
that.
think we should do that,
You
actually.
should.
I don't think that's an idea.
think.
I don't think
Yeah.
anybody would
I
like
think you
that.
should. Jenny has really good ideas.
I don't
Thank you.
So anyway,
Vicky?
back to the more important stuff. Okay. So trial's still going on. Everybody, we more or less all agree that she does have postpartum depression, right? There were signs. Are there the documented signs? There her husband has agreed that she's brought this up before.
Yeah.
Has she brought this up to doctors? There are multiple verified people that have said
Yeah.
I'm having these issues, I'm having these thoughts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So and then it happens. She gets arrested, I guess, right away. There's no wait for it.
Oh, I would like to add, when she jumped out the window, she is paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh, she's in a wheelchair now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, so this isn't just like I'm committing to the bit after something I just did. Like that Chris Watts guy. You guys remember Chris Watts, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Disgusting fucking dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anybody want to do
No, this is like
anybody want to
do
throw
it
out what
now, do it quick.
who Chris Watts is? Does anybody remember that one?
Oh God.
Yep.
Christine?
What?
I was gonna say, yeah, do you wanna tell him?
Oh, yeah. So Chris Watts was the guy who murdered his children and his wife. And
I
he
think it was a
didn't
pregnant
he?
wife, wasn't she?
Yes. Yep. Thank
Yeah.
you. And he put them in those big corn things, right? Those huge things.
It was something at an oil
No.
field. It was an oil
Yeah,
field.
thank you. He
drums.
buried them. Yeah,
Yeah.
he buried them. And
Yeah.
then when they were missing and he played it up for the cameras that he was this like very stressed father and husband looking for his kids and his wife, and he planned it out to make it look like she took them. And
I think I actually
like,
have
is-
keep going.
he's literally on video on like pleading to find them, and it was him all along. And he had like a whole nother life. I don't know if he was married with somebody else or he was dating.
He was cheating on his wife. I think
but he had a whole nother life. Yeah, this is horrible.
Yeah. At the beginning of this video, so this is like the neighbor here. Wait, I'll stream this in Discord. Or actually, you guys have the stream up. Here. So yeah, these are like his neighbors, right? And they're coming into the house searching
there
for
is a
her.
doc.
And there he is. And look, he's just so nonchalant, texting on his phone. I think.
As the normal response,
Wait.
introversion, the officer.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, oh yeah, I don't know where my wife is. Like, dude, this guy just killed his wife. Like, that's crazy. Look, his neighbor is like, dude, what the fuck? Like, look at this guy.
I'm gonna leave there. Come here. Usually between.
Wait, and then look, even his neighbor walks up right here. Hang on.
Chris on a semi-personal level, and could analyze his kinesics in a far more accurate manner than the police officer.
You just want to go talk to him? I'm gonna get his info real quick. No.
His neighbor's like, he fucking did that.
Rocking back and forth. He never boats his stuff in and out of the garage ever.
Right.
To be completely honest with you, my wife and I were kind of wondering when she was on vacation if something happened, because I've heard them full out screaming at each other at the top of their lungs, and he gets crazy.
Does he? And that's pretty recently.
Yeah. He doesn't look worried. He looks like he's trying to cover his tracks. He's normally quiet, real subdued. He's over here telling you 3 times what he took out, what he did. He's very. He never
I bet
talks.
this guy, once
So
it all
the
came
fact
out,
that
was
he's
like, I
over here
fucking
blabbing
knew
his
it.
mouth makes me kind of suspicious.
This was just after the
Yeah. Shaver, it was I want to say it was a few days, only because they needed more evidence. Because he does get on camera and talk about it. So yeah, it happened on August 13th. So he was arrested 2 days later. Was very quick. He admitted during an interview to Texas he'd been responsible for the death. So it was 2 days later. I thought it was a little bit longer. But yeah, he tried to play it up like nothing had happened. So either way, all that to say that there's just a little bit of what you guys are talking about. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but it's very different, right? Because with this Chris Watts case, it's very out of nowhere. These people were genuinely concerned. Nobody had heard about this person wanting to run away. Nobody had heard about his wife trying to leave. Nobody was had heard about her, I mean, there had been fights and whatnot, but her disappearing made no sense, and his demeanor afterwards also made no sense. In this case, okay, her personality is extreme. Things are happening that don't make any sense. However, there seems to be documented evidence of her having postpartum depression and knowing what can happen with that before this all occurred. Am I on the right track here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I just want to add is that postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis are a little bit different.
Can I get an example? Or can you explain
Yep.
it for me, please?
Does anyone else want to take a stab at it?
No, I have never experienced it, so
Mhm.
you know what? I'll let you guys take that.
I know Feetpics has a psych background, so.
She might have popped out for the quiz. Oh.
Well, I mean, I'm not the best at it, but it's different. Because I actually, what would help? We can just look for the definition difference.
Go in the DSM.
Well, it seems to me like, postpartum depression is extreme. Well, I don't exactly know
Okay,
what
so
it
I
is,
have-
but psychosis to me seems to be like hallucinations. Like generally that's what
Okay.
psychosis.
So I have the Google description here. Good idea looking it up. Postpartum depression is a common, manageable mood disorder marked by prolonged sadness and anxiety. Postpartum psychosis is a rare, life-threatening psychiatric emergency defined by a loss of touch with reality, including hallucinations and delusions. Postpartum psychosis requires immediate hospital care, whereas postpartum depression is treated with outpatient therapy and medication.
So this kind of changes things a little bit for me, if I'm being honest with you guys, because from what I'm hearing, and I guess this is what this trial needs to prove, postpartum depression, considered manageable, means that if she doesn't have postpartum psychosis, she is more culpable. Because
I think.
psychosis, so psychosis to me is obviously much more extreme and obviously can lead to much more extreme circumstances, because it's a loss of touch of reality. It's a loss of competency. It's a loss of actual cognitive functioning. So that would, I guess, I don't know what the right word is, but I guess that it seems like the burden of proof is the difference between those two things. And okay, let's go ahead and let's say that she did show that she was trying to get help for postpartum depression. She did show that she was trying to get help for her that specific one. But if postpartum psychosis can't be diagnosed, then it seems like she's a lot more culpable.
It's hard to diagnose postpartum psychosis, because they don't always know that that's what they're going through. She did know she was going through postpartum depression, but if you're depressed long enough and you have anxiety long enough, or if you mix with mania, that's when it happens. And she said she felt like she was watching herself do it. She had an out of body experience when she killed her kids.
And I
So
think that
that's important. That's a huge detail to signify, all right, that might be psychosis, because normal people wouldn't say, like an average person going around and they just killed someone, they're going to give you like a sob story, or they're going to give you something that you're like, I really don't have sympathy for you. She's not giving you sympathy.
And
She's giving you an experience that she went through, and she's trying to tell you, like, I don't know what was wrong with me.
I think a couple things with this too is, first of all, since the beginning, she said she's done it. And then Jeni and I were talking about earlier how, like, in the trial, they're going over how the children were murdered, piece by piece, showing the exercise bands, showing the clothes they were wearing, showing pictures. She was sobbing, absolutely sobbing. And so I think it's important to, like, look at that, as Feetpics was just saying, but also throughout what obviously none of us were physically in her doctor's appointments and all those things, but what they're saying, and yes, Bardley, that's very true. What they're saying is that she was like, yeah, I'm depressed. I can't sleep. I have anxiety. I blah, blah, blah. They're saying that she didn't say she was suicidal. She only said that to her husband. They're saying that she didn't say she was hearing voices. She only said that to her husband. So, like, and her husband does acknowledge all of those things that she said. So I think it's hard because as Feetpics was just saying, if she's not saying that to her doctors, they're not going to know it was psychosis or dig in to see if it's psychosis. So I think there's things there too. And then the fact that she was potentially bipolar, they put her on Zoloft. If you're on the wrong meds and you're a bipolar, it's going to exacerbate everything. So the psychosis could have also come on from being in the wrong treatment.
Okay. Well, wait.
It
So,
became psychosis.
like, as in it evolves into that? I don't know. I didn't know that's how that worked.
Yeah, once you're depressed long enough with mania and you have an episode of mania, and then if she is bipolar and they mixed that, she went into psychosis.
And from what we're hearing, Bardley, too, is that her therapist, I don't think people were taking her as seriously as she needed to be
No.
taken.
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like some of that actually just has to deal with the fact that she was a woman. That this is ultimately, it's going to boil down to part of that as well.
And what
Women's
sucks is
health
all of her
was,
providers were fucking women.
yeah, well, no, because the thing is a lot of the issue when it comes to our standard healthcare is ultimately was always designed based on men, since those were primarily the participants in research that we used. So any of our findings is going to be based on how men react, and it's very hard to get how women react, and it's very different. It's not the same, and we go off old standards, especially the DSM-5, mostly for men.
Yep.
Mm.
And I think, too, like just speaking from my own experience, because I'm very open about my own struggles, but like I played the part. I like the prosecution is trying to say, and I know I said this earlier to you three, but the prosecution's trying to say that she was of sound mind and took an opportunity and killed the children with motive. She may have looked like she was sound mind. Like they have pictures of her at the Children's Museum and the Museum of Science and like doing things with her kids, taking pictures at her daughter's birthday party a few days before. Like when I was suicidal, I went to work every day. I was taking pills. I was high as fuck trying to kill myself, and I was logging into work and answering my emails. Nobody in my life knew that I was in the process of killing myself. And that is because I am a high functioning anxiety and depressive person. So that is no line of anything to me that the prosecution's trying to say, because she very well can just present however she needs to present. She was a very smart person. She was a nurse. Like it doesn't matter to me that she went on outings with her family, because my decision to kill myself happened within 24 hours. I did not plan it. For me, it totally makes sense what happened in her head.
As to how she can make the jump so quickly.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I can second that with Christine. When I did, it was just, I lived every day. Everyone thought I was so happy.
Yep, same.
And then I was like, that day, I'm like, today's the day.
Yep, same. So
I was hanging out with a friend a couple hours before, like.
Yeah, I literally told my friend, I'm like, love you, see you later.
Yep. So it's just like, to me, the angle, Pizer, that the prosecution is going on this case is that they're trying to prove that she did this with motive, intent, all of that. And the defense is trying to say, no, nobody ever took her seriously. They put her on the wrong meds. I mean, her family knew that she was struggling because her mom would come up all the time. So they lived in Massachusetts on the South Shore. Her family lived in Connecticut. So it's, 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But her mom would come up and help with the kids all the time. Like, it's just hard. And then you hear like her husband talk. He didn't, from what I understand, Jeni, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't say a bad word about her.
I
Not
don't
on
think he did
stand.
at all. No.
The husband
And there's
hasn't?
even like,
Well,
yeah.
they're divorced, but
Yeah.
Oh, when did
And
they
there's even
divorce?
a moment. Oh, I don't
I
know.
think they divorced after it.
Oh, like after the murder and
After
everything.
it.
Oh.
Yes.
Well,
They
I
were
mean,
still married.
I guess that's kind of tough to stay together when you're arrested for something like that. Regardless
And
of the
there's
situation.
even like a moment in the trial that I was watching today where they were talking about how she had already like expressed like worry that she would hurt the kids in some way.
Yeah.
And then he had a 2-day trip to New York and he left. This is before their murder, but he had a trip to New York for 2 days and he was already aware that she had expressed to him that she was worried about hurting the kids, and he left to New York and came back for 2
Real
days.
piece of work.
So she had a chance to do it then. That's what the defense is saying too.
Correct.
Because the prosecution's trying to say, like, she sent him away to go get takeout, so she had the chance to do it. And people are like, yeah, but he was already gone a few days before, and she was alone with the kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like,
coming from like, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Coming from someone who has kids and went through postpartum, not all cases are like this, but a lot of the time, if you have a bad support system or a bad partner, whatever, it makes it a lot worse. And if she had planned on doing any of this, she had ample time. She wouldn't have been involved. She wouldn't have had multiple kids back to back because let me tell you, that shit is hard work. And she had 3. I only have 2.
Yeah.
Like, if she wanted to, she would have. And she was begging for help.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Well, so I guess then the real question is, though, that I'm interested to hear everybody's opinion on, is postpartum psychosis. Let's say that's the diagnosis here. I guess we're going to kind of find out as the trial goes on with what the jury believes and what all the experts have said, because I'm sure they're calling upon experts for testimonies and everything like that. If that's the case, let's say that postpartum psychosis is truly why she did it, right? Does that mean that she deserves to walk free?
No, so the actual, just so everybody understands what the 2 options kind of are, is that one, she gets proven guilty without like whatever insanity or whatever.
Actually,
it
that's
is.
my. Hang on. Did you guys say is she pleading not guilty by reason of insanity? Is that her?
Yes.
Oh,
it is. She's pleading
shit.
she's pleading. That's what I read just now.
Dude, okay,
it's
so
pleading not guilty because of the mental state.
So okay,
that she shouldn't be held responsible for the actions or the charges because of her state of mind. That is what I read.
So fun little like true crime fact, like people being found not guilty by that is like, I mean, it is a less than 1% that it happens.
Yeah.
Generally, when these things go to trial, like being found not guilty by that, which another time on stream, I have some videos of some not YouTube interrogate, but they're YouTube videos of like police interrogations of some people that actually do get off by not guilty by reason of insanity or mental defect. And in all of those cases, you see their police interview and you just kind of go like, oh yeah, this person's just not in touch with reality. And that's kind of why I'm thinking that, you know what, if that's the way they're going, she's going to be found fucking guilty, because all of those people, and this is anecdotal, this is not true statistics, this is not true numbers, but in those, like, in that little weird nostalgia, niche obsession I've had of watching those kind of interrogations, every single one of those people that were found not guilty by mental deficiency or by reason of insanity, you could tell 5 minutes in their interrogation that this person they are not in touch with reality. They have no idea with what's going on around them. And in her case, I don't know how well an episode. It's going to be like some serious legal precedent, basically. Like if she gets found not guilty by this, or if she gets found, guilty, but this is going to be like a major referred to landmark case of like psychosis and how to treat mental health in the court system.
Yeah.
There was even an argument that the prosecution was saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at one point they were saying, like, talking when they were discussing how the kids were murdered with the exercise bands, that the way that this is when she broke down in court, they were discussing how when you're like suffocating somebody with an exercise band, it's not immediate. It takes minutes, a couple of minutes for the oxygen to like deplete and the brain to start like dying and for the person to die. So that's part of the prosecution's argument of like, but she knew what she was doing because she has to hold them down for like 4 minutes.
And the youngest, Callan, the 8-month-old, they were able to get his pulse back, and he died 2 days later at Boston Children's Hospital. He was brain dead, so they would have never like.
No, but like even still, yeah, that's that. Okay, so that is a long time. That's a long episode. That's a lot. I mean, I think everybody here would even have to admit that that is a lot of strangulation before coming to.
But you also have to remember that after she did this, she went upstairs and tried to kill herself.
Kill herself.
And I hate to be devil's advocate, but couldn't that also overcome with grief of the action you just made potentially? I'm just saying possibly. I'm just saying
But how would you determine that?
Right. Well, that's impossible. That's impossible.
The issue I have is women are not. So like when men attempt suicide, they're usually successful because they're going to use something that will actually harm them. Women are more likely to use something like pills. So the fact she went for the knife is an uncommon female characteristic. She jumps out the window and now she's paralyzed from the waist down. There's some evidence that would indicate, she's not a sound. No one would do that of sound mind. No one would then go up the stairs and do that.
She did say it was a male voice too.
Well, okay. So to be again, but like you could see that she was legitimately trying to kill herself after what she had done, and she just didn't.
Coming out of the episode,
and
looking down,
just simply didn't succeed. The whole her being paralyzed, I think at least for me, doesn't lead credence into the whole. That I don't think about that as much because one way or the other, you could look at it like the overcome of grief of what she had just done. She legitimately could have been trying to kill herself. And this is more common in men, family annihilators, guys that will they'll kill their entire family and then kill themselves last. In a lot of those cases, they're usually guys where they lose everything financially and they don't know what to do. Not an excuse thing. Those guys are pieces of shit. They're horrible people. But in those cases, that's usually what it is. Is that it's a guy who's supposed to be the provider of the family who loses everything, and then he ends up coming home one day and he kills the wife and the kids, and then he shoots himself. You know what I mean? Just because that guy shot himself at the end of it doesn't mean that he wasn't of sound mind the entire time that he did it. And so I guess that when I hear this story as a super big true crime junkie myself, there's a lot of stories of that. If you kind of search them, a family annihilator is a form of something, and then those are almost always men.
It happened recently.
Yes, it happens all the time. And usually in true crime, men are usually more likely to commit familicide. I don't know what the word is for it, but they're more likely to do that.
Would do it.
Usually women's crimes come with stealing kids and or killing kids. That's generally what Eileen Warrenhost is a weird outlier of a woman serial killer. It's just there aren't women serial killers. They're usually kidnappers and or they might kill children or they might kill the elderly. Angels of death is what they call them. So there are subsects of these. So that's why this case is kind of interesting to me, is because it's a very rare case if she isn't somebody who is suffering from psychosis of some kind, because very rarely are women the family annihilators. They're very rarely that kind. But what is interesting is the whole suicide attempt afterwards. And I mean, also, on the other hand, it could just be as simple as she had a psychotic episode. And then she came to after the psychotic episode, overcame with grief, tried to kill herself, told the story to her lawyers, and their lawyers went, well, you know what? We need you to not admit the part where you came to at the end. You're not going to get off if you do that. It's possible. It's possible.
She was suicidal the whole time, though.
Yeah.
So again, yes, I get that. That doesn't necessarily mean that changes the perspective of what happened, though. She could have been suicidal before, suicidal during, and suicidal after. It's the fact that I guess the narcissistic part isn't the right word, but the way that a lot of people look at these cases when men do it is well, then why didn't you just kill yourself instead? You took everybody else out with you. Why?
Right.
So that's what they say to men when men do this, and I think it's fair. I think of the Chris Watts, if you're so upset, put a gun in your own head, bro. Why did you kill your pregnant wife and your kids? That's how I look at Chris Watts. You killed other people, kill yourself instead. I shouldn't say that on Twitch, but you know what, whatever. You guys know I don't give a fuck about that. So you have to say that this is, if she's not part of the psychosis thing, I feel like the same criticism could be levied. No?
Postpartum depression, I mean, it gets very dark very quickly. I mean, you have these uncontrollable thoughts that get so dark, and you're not okay. Like, the fact that they even allowed her to roam free, knowing she expressed this, that's like a number one sign of, oh, you have kids and you're expressing this. I'm getting you away from your children. You might do something bad. That is like a number one thing in the world of psych, of like, if they're saying this should be a red flag, this needs to be escalated and investigated further. It was never escalated and investigated further to really truly determine what was going on. And if she does have bipolar disorder, right then and there, she has a disorder. There are going to be points in her time where she has no idea what she's doing.
I mean, WitchBlades, you mentioned that you had postpartum. Like, I can't imagine what your brain was doing to you. Like, you don't have to talk about it, but like, I just can't imagine.
It was pretty damn hard. Which obviously, your brain does take you to a.
Can we get that on a motivational poster? Postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Pretty damn hard. It's just that's all it says. It's just a picture of WitchBlades smiling with thumbs up. Postpartum depression. Pretty damn hard.
I'm not about to start trauma dumping on stream.
No.
It does. It takes you to a dark place. And I guess in that standpoint where I have gone through it, I went through the doctors, and that's a whole other story. I've had therapists ghost me when I've tried to get help. They just try and throw medications at you, but sometimes they just don't work. And
agree. Fucking claps for that one. I hate. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Agreed.
Continue. Sorry.
But no, it's okay. But with postpartum depression, you continue showing up despite the thoughts. You continue to keep going for your kids. You can't imagine leaving your kids, hurting your kids, anything. You have that sort of ability in your brain to walk away or know if you're in an unsafe situation. Not all the time. It's, case per case. But with where I believe she was in psychosis, she just snapped. She was a nurse, was she not?
Yeah.
If she wanted to, she would have found much easier ways, much better times. It wouldn't have been rushed. I don't believe that she knew what she was doing.
She could have stole drugs.
Yeah, exactly. There are so many ways she could have gone about it. This was not premeditated. I do not believe she just did it on a whim. I guess,
Well, no, you're saying
if
that it's not
to
premeditated. It would have been done on a whim. As in like an episode. Okay, yeah. No,
I'm getting myself
no, you're good. You're good. I just want to make sure that we got, you're good. No, I hear exactly what you're saying. Yep.
So, yeah, she... And one thing, too, that was on the stand, which is a little weird, why on her computer, which brings it back to, what someone had said before about information that they found that they couldn't quite pin down or whatever.
It's actually similar to the Casey Anthony
where
thing.
Why was she Googling where the carotid artery was? She was a nurse.
She wouldn't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they're pinning, they're going back to, okay, well, was it the husband? Why is he looking this up? They can't pin it to him or her, and that's why there's theories going around that he did it, and he's the guilty one because of stuff like this, and, his timelines don't add up. It's really weird.
I'm gonna say anecdotally, just from I am a master plumber. I am considered a master of my trade, and I Google basic shit sometimes. I want to just throw that out there. I know.
Spelled wrong.
Yeah, well, okay, not all of us are also great spellers either. That doesn't necessarily mean anything too. Look, I'm not.
Kaiser can't spell confirmed.
Yes, 100%. You guys see me type in chat. What are you fucking talking about? What? This is not like this is a new revelation.
New information.
But I'm just saying. You got it. Those are parts of the whole like larger evidence pool that I take with a grain of salt, because even in my field as a master plumber, I still have a very, very tough time with venting. Now, you guys might think venting gives a shit. In plumbing, venting is one of the most important things of all time when it comes to drainage, and I still have to Google the most basic shit on how to vent a bathroom properly. And there are probably old heads that have been plumbing for that have been plumbing for 30 years, and probably guys that do new construction that have only been plumbing for 5 years that would look at me and go, "What are you, fucking stupid? It's right here. Duh. Do we do this every day?" I'm just saying, because it just may not be something that she deals with all the time, and it being a Google search doesn't necessarily. I'm just saying, I kind of throw that evidence out. That's all I'm saying. That's a big roundabout way of me saying I throw that bit of evidence out.
I'm curious to know the angle of the cuts on her wrist and her neck.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that they were the long way. Like the actual, like not the attention-seeking high school girl.
Positioning. Like, how angle of, is it possible she did it herself?
That sounds so wrong, by the way. I didn't mean that as like but like I realized that as I said. But I mean, like it was a saying when I was in high school in the early 2000s, where it was like, if you're cutting, if you're cutting horizontally, you're doing it for attention.
Yes.
Because you can't really hurt yourself doing it that way. So
they were also analyzing this in court, by the way. There
yeah.
was, like the blood, the drips of the blood, like on the
Jeni,
shingles of the house.
Do you know, Jeni? Do you know? Was it the long way or was it like the attention way? I shouldn't say it like that.
They showed pictures. They showed pictures. I don't know, actually. I think it was the attention way.
Ooh.
Because it's also would make sense why someone would look up where the carotid artery is and then her throat is slit but missed, obviously. But didn't cut her esophagus.
Okay,
nice.
well then, realistically, to ask you guys, and chat as well, Haven, thank you for participating. I promise you that I am not ignoring the chats. I'm glad that you guys are all involved in this. We're just, going through it all together. Is there any possibility that maybe she thought she wouldn't hurt herself if she... How high was it? Second story? Third story?
Yes, second story. Second story.
Is there any chance she might have thought that she wouldn't have been as badly hurt as she was?
So she also took pills, like a whole bottle of pills. So maybe she thought that she'd bleed out because you don't know. But the reports were self-inflicted harm.
Yeah. Well, I'm not disputing that at all. Definitely, yeah, exactly. Fight or flight, maybe. And Haven, I'm sure if you cut deep enough in any situation, right? Like, yeah.
This is one thing I want to circle back to is like, there are so many different injuries or afflictions that she brought on herself. It's like, how quick was she trying to do this? Like, to just get it done. To me, that feels like panic. That feels like desperation. I don't know.
Well, and none of us do. And I think everybody in this chat would agree. None of us know. We're all speculating. We do not know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a lot, right? Like Haven says, pills versus bleed out, but she did both. It almost seems overkill, like how somebody writing the story would do it. It's just it's a lot at once, which could lead to psychosis.
Right. If you think about her in psychosis, she's been wanting to kill herself. She goes into psychosis and just does all she can.
To guarantee it in some way.
Because if you don't have a gun available or you don't have it in you to shoot yourself,
which most women don't,
right, then
most people don't.
I grabbed multiple bottles of pills, so like you do what you have around you.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So I think, to me, she was in a psychosis. I understand what you're saying, Pizer, about maybe she saw what she did, but
Oh, that's just a theory. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened.
no.
I'm just throwing in all possibilities because this is all so new to me. So yeah, I'm not I'm not trying to play it down what you guys are saying.
I think it's just sucky. The two outcomes that I've read legally are that she could be, the jury could say she's guilty, the judge agrees, and she goes to jail for the rest of her life. Or they say she's not guilty for reasons of insanity, whatever, and she goes into a mental institution for the rest of her life.
Both of which
She's
are
not
prison.
she's not going to be free.
No, she's not.
No.
But I think the difference, though, is that one has the possibility of being free again, I guess, is where the long term of it is. Because in theory, if you correctly medicate somebody, can they be rehabilitated? It's supposed to be the point of prison, is rehabilitating people. But
a mental institution, as Feetpics just said, is prison.
Oh no,
it's
it is.
prison. She's going to be drugged out of her mind.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, yeah, it is prison. I am not downplaying that at all, any way, shape, or form. I just think that it's more about like what the potential end sentencing is, because
Pristine.
Prison is prison, but a mental institution is also prison. It's just as bad, in some cases worse, because the abuse in those places can be a lot worse. But the difference there is that if she somehow endures and survives, I guess in theory she could be out. It also depends on where she goes, because some of those facilities actually are better. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. I mean, they are actual facilities where they're trying to help people get through their mental escapades. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean.
I was going to ask Christine, do they still use corrective electroshock therapy in Massachusetts, or is that outlawed? Because it's legal in New York State.
So I know that they do EMDR still, but that's a thing you would elect into. So I would imagine since they do that in Massachusetts, they probably would do it as a shock treatment for that.
Yeah, to correct the brain.
Paris Jackson talk about doing that recently?
Electroconclusive therapy, ECT, commonly known as electroshock therapy, is legal in all 50 U.S. states. No state has outright banned the medical procedure. Are you fucking kidding me?
What? Do it.
Michael Jackson's daughter talked about that on a podcast recently, that's something that she did. The therapy.
People elect to do it.
I mean, people elect to take lie detector tests, but I didn't realize that it was like allowed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's still allowed. You still come across the problem of becoming like mushed brain, because people will naturally be evil.
Real quick, because we just got a raid. Welcome in, Lost. Thank you all for being here. We are talking the Lindsay Clancy case, which has to do with people being murdered and mental health and a lot of other things. So if this is going to be a heavy subject for you guys, I completely understand if you have to raid and run and go do your own thing. But yeah, it's a little heavy, what we're talking about right now. So thank you so much for your raid. I really, really, really appreciate the raid. You know we're always happy to have you here. And everybody in here right now, if you're not following Lost, one of my favorite homies here on Twitch, who is a published, world-famous author, make sure you give them a follow. And it's a lot, Jalen. Yeah, it's a lot. So, that's what we're talking about right now. And I just want to say thank you guys all so much for the raid. We were just caught in that mid-discussion. I wanted to make sure that we said hi to everybody here. Christine, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you so much. But of course, Lost. No, of course. Thank you. And again, guys, please make sure you guys all give Lost a follow. Okay. Continue. Sorry, I had to cut that off for a second. I don't remember where we were.
Electroshock therapy. You discovering that is still legal.
Yeah, that was Baker asked what was legal in 50 states. Electroshock therapy. I thought that that's something where lobotomies were just gonna be like, yeah, you can't just drill a hole in people's brain anymore. No, I guess electroshock therapy, fucking pseudoscience, is still just allowed in all 50 states.
Did you know electroshock therapy? I told Jeni this. I just finished a book. It's a fiction book called The Mad Wife, but electroshock therapy was originally the first thing that they did, and then they would do a lobotomy. Isn't that
Mhm.
crazy?
Yeah. Can't imagine why they got shut down.
So Haven is asking about electroshock therapy, and Liza, yeah, there's definitely a lot of procedures that are still not to get on my whole like why I hate therapy soapbox, because there's nothing worse than a middle-aged white man talking about why he doesn't like therapy. But what I will say is that I have been to therapy many times, and in every case that I have been to therapy, they have wanted to put me on medication that has made me want to kill myself, and because of that, I have stopped going to therapy, because that is how it ends every single time. And what I have found instead works for me is smoking a shit ton of weed. And I know that that's not something that I should ever advocate to anybody. And I say to all my men in chat especially, go to fucking therapy. Go figure it out first. Do not self-diagnose yourself. It took many therapists for me to realize, you know what? Today's therapy is just kind of not for me. Let me try it again in a little while later. But for right now, I'm just going to smoke some weed. Unfortunately, that is just how a lot of these things go. So sadly, yes, there are a lot of things that therapists can try to put you onto that don't necessarily actually help yourself, which is why this case is so intriguing to me, because I understand that. I might not be a woman, but I do understand not getting the help that you think that you need. And so cases like this are especially intriguing to me because everybody is different. And until recently, a lot of techniques don't necessarily, a lot of like alternative techniques have been discovered, and a lot of people are starting to accept that not one type of therapy works for everybody else, if that kind of makes sense, right?
Shocking.
Yeah, who'd have thought, right? Who'd have thought people are different?
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, who'd have thought?
No.
So, yeah, like that's kind of, to go on a side tangent, but like, yeah, that's kind of like why this has been so, interesting to me. But no, electroshock therapy is not necessarily just an electric chair toned down. It has to do with the way that pulses are supposed to be administered based on intervals that have to do with synapses in your brain. Feetpics?
Yeah, that's why you see it on the temple. You attach it to the temples, and it's usually very low to start. And on your severity, but it should never go over a certain voltage, because that's when it causes brain damage.
Right.
But that's also very common to happen.
I have it here. Electroconvulsive therapy treats severe depression by sending brief electrical pulses to the brain under anesthesia to trigger a controlled seizure. This process changes brain chemistry, boosts mood regulating chemicals, and helps brain cells form new connections, rapidly reducing severe symptoms when other treatments fail. A small electrical current creates a brief seizure in the brain that lasts about 30 to 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's effective. It does work. It's just you gotta do it right.
Yeah, but it also is like no, like
You're giving yourself a seizure.
I don't give a fuck if it works or not. You're not doing that. You know what it's like? That to me is like teleportation. I'll never do it, because what do you mean you're gonna disintegrate? Like, my body's gonna disintegrate and show up somewhere else? I don't believe that's me over there. Fuck that shit. You're not. I will never teleport ever. I don't care if they figure it out. Never. The same way that I would never do electrical shock. What do you mean you're gonna shock me into who I should be? Absolutely not. What do you mean you're gonna repath my brain? No. I will shut up. I will be sad. You know what? No. I choose to be sad before I get shocked in the fucking brain, brother. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Knocked out.
Yeah, are you writing notes
in the basement?
Yo, nah. By the way, Colby, you missed it. D said that he's already down to do the maid stream, so. Wow. Well, anyway, I guess final thoughts about the whole situation. It seems to me like it's pretty clear that she was going through a severe mental health crisis. I don't think that anybody would disagree with that, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, there's no questioning that whether or not how you believe in X, Y, or Z, she was clearly going through a severe, well-documented crisis. And she was not getting the help that she deserved or the help that she needed. It seems to me like and also we can all throw out the whole the husband did it thing, right? That just seems like ridiculous.
Some people are really on that.
I know that they're on it, but I mean, like, she's admitted it. She did she still cut herself and threw herself out a window. What, did he cut her and throw her out a window? Like, I mean, that's the alternative, is that he cut her and then threw her out a window. Okay. I guess, but like, I mean, defensive wounds, something. Yeah. I mean, like, I you got to give me more. You know what I mean? You got to give me something more than like. It just seems like a little loony on that part. And like Bardley just said, if her husband did it, why is she covering for him, kind of thing? Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't know. She could be scared of him.
That's possible.
In court, surrounded by people.
Yeah.
Women are not like these brave.
No,
like,
I know.
We're brave, but like in those scenarios, we're really not. We're like, okay, maybe he's threatened to kill me.
Yeah, I know.
And he clearly tried once.
Yeah.
He's already remarried, by the way.
Sorry, go ahead.
Crazy.
I was just saying he's already remarried.
Oh, yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah, he is. I will say, in terms of that situation, do you remember the ex I was talking about from like 10 years ago? I worked at a store, and she came into said store, and 6 years after, at that point, I was still like shaking. My body went into fight or flight.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it
no, for sure. Like, I won't. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I get that. I guess it.
Do I think he did it? No, but
yeah, I just.
Being, like, if it were to happen, like it,
It seems really, really far-fetched.
No, I
for
don't
him
think
to
so
have done
either.
it.
Oh yeah, it's a stretch. And she already pled guilty, and she says she felt like she was watching herself do it. So
yeah, it's more psychosis.
I think the hardest part here is that like she agrees, we all agree that she did it. So I think the hardest part is like, where do you land as a jury and as the judge with what the decision should be? Like the whole thing is supposed to be, she did it. She needs to pay for doing it, but in what way? That's why I don't know. I don't know. I think that she was completely failed by not only just the medical system, but everybody in her life. Like, if I had been granted, as WitchBlades said, like, it depends on the system you have around you. But she did have family, and she did have friends, and she did have help. So, like, she was begging for help, and nobody actually took her seriously.
Yeah, his parents went on the stand and testified for her.
That she was begging. And her mother-in-law is
powerful.
also a nurse. So like it's just, to me, I'm just like I want to have empathy for her, and I do, because I've never been in psychosis, but I've been in a bad mental state where I wasn't myself. So like what does that mean? No, I wouldn't go and kill somebody else. I'd just rather kill myself. But like, what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what, if I was on the jury, I'd be so torn on what do you decide?
Right.
And I think we should revisit this when the verdict comes out.
Ooh, definitely.
And give final thoughts again.
Yeah. Because I mean, more evidence could come out.
And like Haven said, not everybody thinks like that, and that's what kind of makes these cases so difficult, is because everybody's different, right? I mean, like that's it's kind of hard.
That's why you have a jury, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I agree with that.
I just think this is a classic case of the system failed her, and she did exactly what was going to happen. That's been a time-old. Yeah, it's they cry for help, and then they're like shocked that they do something crazy. It's like, oh, imagine I'm crying for help, and you tell me get bent. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do something crazy, and then shocked that I did something crazy.
Yeah, like here's some meds. They might work. They might make you crazy. Like there's no telling.
Lexapro was a trip.
And just a sidebar. Oh, fucking Ativan. Fuck that shit. The
Zoloft for me. Zoloft was the one that made me want to kill myself.
Yeah. Sidebar though, any mental health med takes a minimum of 2 weeks to see if it's being effective. And if it isn't, you change course and you try another one for another 2 weeks. So the fact that her doctors were just upping her dosage on the meds, and she was saying it makes me feel crazy.
Yeah.
Just like, are you fucking kidding me?
And I do want to
Yeah.
add to that, the first doctor that she went to, Dr. Tuft, was a
Ugh.
month and a half out of her residency.
Yeah.
She was
Yep.
a brand new doctor.
She should
So
have
she should be the best,
Ooh.
actually, of like, you're new out of the
Mhm.
system. You know what the procedure is. You know, you're fresh out of college, you're fresh out of residency, whatever. You know the procedure. It's not like you have the excuse of some old timer who's been in the system for decades. You know, this is the protocol. Why didn't you follow it?
Yep.
Yes.
Colby brings up something that we kind of touched on, but not exactly like expanded on. But he says is one solution to bring in asylums in a proper way. And
Yes.
I'm going to take asylums in a broader form and just mean mental institutions in general. Yes. The mental institutions overall need to be reformed. I'm not going to go into it right now, but shout out Ronald Reagan. That's the reason why that's not a thing nowadays. But anyway, it's just like,
What a king.
unfortunately, mental health got defunded in the 1980s, and we never really addressed it ever since. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it. In the 1980s, one of the things that got cut from taxpayers was that we didn't have to fund a lot of mental institutions anymore. And the main reason why you see so many people talking to themselves or yelling at brick walls in DC, in New York, in LA, is because there's nowhere to put them. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. And I will gladly let my tax dollars pay for mental institutions. 100%. Things like that where people are like, do you really want to see your taxes go up for mental hospitals? Yes. What? Yes.
Yeah,
I would actually really like to go to 7-Eleven and not potentially be stabbed by somebody who's having an episode. That would be kind of nice. Yes, I'm glad if my taxes pay that. And you know.
My rebuttal to that is, what the fuck are our taxes going to anyway? So like, put them to something useful.
Bardley, would you like to tell us where our taxes go?
Yeah, Barley.
Oh my god.
But anyway.
Well, and just to go off of like it, a 5150 is an involuntary commitment.
Mm-hmm.
She also voluntarily wanted to go. So like,
Yeah. It's not like you miraculously get cured after 5 days.
No, you don't. You don't. And they had her on the wrong meds anyway, so group therapy wasn't going to help her. Like, that's what a lot of institutional things do, is group therapy. Yep. I used to sit there and color. I used to color.
Yeah. Make like, the paper stars.
And then I used to play Yahtzee with this old lady who was telling me all about this shit. It was pretty funny. I went in there and I had weed gummies, and they took them from me, but they left them in a locker. And so one of the old ladies heard that I had them, and she went over to one of the techs and was like, "Hey, can we get Christine's weed gummies?" And then he was like, I can't do that." I'm like, "We'd probably all be happier. You could probably just leave us alone at that point." There's good ones out there, as we had said, but a lot of them are really fucking shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Colby was saying about, especially if it's proper and not in the horrifying manner in which movies and shows make it seem, we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. A lot of them are like that. Not all, but a lot of them are. And it's a fucking dice roll. Imagine your mental health is a dice roll. Think about it that way.
Yeah.
Think about it literally that way, is that your actual mental health and being taken care of properly is, I sure hope I go to the right facility that's not going to mentally abuse me, physically abuse me, sexually abuse me in some of these places. Like,
financially abuse me.
Yes, a lot of these places are not safe. And that's why a lot of people don't go get help. Yep. Because they're afraid of being abused in these places. Those TVs, those movies, they're not exaggerations. They might be dramatized, but reality is that is how some of these things go.
Mm-hmm. That's why I left the field.
I don't blame you. I want to read what Haven said real quick. Okay, I just want to say docs don't always do the right thing, but my mom is at a trusted doctor for many years. She randomly broke out into full body highs last year, was hospitalized. She went to the doctor 3 times prior with the highs for different meds, creams, something to change. They told her she had diabetes. She's been going for years to this doctor, trusted him, and never issues before, and hospitalized. She went to a different doctor, and they frequently saw she wasn't a diabetic and on insulin. So basically, some guy said, it's this, don't worry about it, it's this, kept her on it for years, and she wasn't even a diabetic the entire time.
God,
That's insane.
that's crazy.
Perspective. I can put it into perspective of how bad the mental health situation is here. This is before I had kids. I was taken in ambulance to the hospital. They kept me overnight, and I was released less than 12 hours later.
Wow.
That seems
Yeah.
like that seems a little quick.
Sounds about right.
It's a little fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
12
Um,
hours. 12 hours you didn't even have a chance to properly sit down with somebody and talk.
Yeah, no, they came in the morning. I told them what they wanted to hear, and they let me leave.
Yep.
After being brought in by ambulance.
I didn't even get that. I stayed in the ER. I was in the ICU. They moved me after, I think, 4 hours. They moved me to a regular room. And then they're like, yeah, you're good to go at like 4 p.m. I was like, I've been here for 14 hours. Like, yeah, I know. I'm like, but we need your room. I'm like, okay. They're like, just don't do
Yeah.
anything stupid. I'm like, okay.
Thanks.
He said so.
So I want to touch on what Colby just said in chat here. I have and it is a touchy subject, Colby, but this is why I love this community, by the way, is because we can talk about this and nobody gets at each other. And that's why it's like, it's perfect. I had no problem with us tackling this subject today because I knew it wouldn't be a problem. And first of all, Arctic, I just read everything you said there. And like, yeah, again, it's the same problem in the UK. It seems like it's a global problem, right? It's not unique to just the healthcare system. It's not unique to the country. It's the healthcare system as a whole. So Colby, everything that you're saying is true. Running the asylum will be a job for the most stoic. You literally never know what's going to happen unless they're confined, and it's a touchy subject. Here's the problem. Those places, like prisons, are, at least the ones that are run by the public, are horribly underfunded. And the problem is when you have private prisons and you have private mental institutions, those places are incentivized to create more patients so they can charge more insurance companies for money, which is why this all comes back to this hard issue of publicly funding things. How do you get people to staff those mental asylums? They need to be funded. People need money. There needs to be a reason. I agree. Yes, Colby, proper. Agree. I am agreeing with you 1,000%. It's just those places have to be funded. You need to be given proper money to work in a place like that. You need to be compensated for the environment that you work in. I don't think that's a hot fucking take to say. That's a reason why deep sea diving welders get paid better than anybody else in the world. That is literally the best paying job in the world, is a deep sea diving welder, because they have like a 20% mortality rate. Like, that's just kind of how it works. It is a difficult job, and the only way that you can fund it is through high tax rates. Because if you do it as a private institution, if a private company owns that mental hospital, then they're going to find every reason to confine people that don't need to be confined, keep patients longer than they need to be kept, and over-medicate people to increase the amount of money they can charge insurance companies. So it's like, it's such a racket no matter how you look at it. And this is the stuff that, like, it's what makes me give up. You know how, like, Colby, when we'll be texting each other and like we'll be texting about stuff, and then by the end of our conversation, both of us kind of like throw our hands up and kind of just go like, yeah, bro, I guess there's just like nothing, like, yeah, bro, I guess there's really just not a lot we can do. Because that's how these situations happen. We literally had these conversations, Colby. I think that's one of the reasons why we're still like such good friends to this day. Because all the time we talk about this stuff, and at the end of every conversation, it just kind of goes, yeah, bro, I mean, what do we do? Well, I want to help people. I want people to be happy. I want the world to be happy. I want everyone to be happy, safe, and secure. And yeah, that's it. My hands go up and I go, what do I do? How do we do it? What do we do? I don't know. I mean,
this might just go into the basic, like, how we structure our healthcare in general, not just in mental health, but like just going to a standard doctor. You're rushed in and out. We overwork our medical people and then wonder why we have all of these issues.
Yep. Retweet. Yeah. Just go hug Kyrie. Yeah. Everybody's medicine is hugging Kyrie.
Yes, it is.
Agreed.
But being in a mental hospital, like, that stuff's crazy. I remember I entered in one, and my one friend from college, we went in lockdown. I hid in a broom closet. She got pinned up against the door by someone who broke out and had a shard of glass to her neck. And she goes, "But we get paid $11 an hour."
No.
Above my pay grade.
My God.
I was like, this is fine.
Oh, Izzy's on my lap. She's very mad.
Does she need food?
No, she's mad about what we're talking about. She's pissed.
We gotta talk about her now.
Well, all that to say, I feel like we've covered this pretty well, and I do agree with you guys. I think that we should come back to this when the verdict is read. I wanna kind of go over what we all think once we hear what they have to say, because this story is only recently gaining a lot of traction, and I think that, like, it's gonna have its own Wikipedia at some point. There's gonna be a lot of YouTubers going into it. Would you guys actually be okay if I highlighted this and put this on YouTube? This whole
go for it.
Girly. Wait, can we do Girlies Conversation episode 1?
Yeah.
We'll have more in the future.
Early Power Hour Part 1.
Well,
when are we getting paid? What's our
here, I break up street.
I know you meant that as
He's going through it. Oh no.
I know where he lives. Watch out.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, Thot. We're calling it Thot Dots. Yo, Thot Dots, episode 1, bro.
That's it.
All right, episode 1 of Thot Dots. Okay, well, I've said enough, and I appreciate you guys for being here. I'm gonna let you guys all go in order based on who's on the conference call. So, thank you guys all for being here. I really do appreciate it. Starting with Feetpics, is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No.
I'm done.
Not really. I said my piece.
Yeah, Christine.
Yeah. Same. I'm
Yeah,
good.
Jeni, WitchBlades, you guys got anything to add?
No.
Bye. Have a beautiful
Oh my
time.
God. Well, if you guys are playing Among Us, make sure you stick around. But yeah, I'm going to drop out of here for now. We'll figure that part out. But thank you guys for doing this. This was a lot of fun.
I have to go roll my sourdough. Bye.
Bye.